Good morning, Rotarians and guests. Welcome to Rotary. Rotary opens opportunities for service above self and building communities. Rotary opens opportunities to do more and to grow more. This morning, we are honored to have Lori Williams come and deliver our prayer and lead us in pledge. Lori?
Let's pray. Thank you, Lord. Thank you for all the many blessings that you give us daily. Lord, thank you for this country we live in, the freedoms that we have. Thank you for those who are willing to serve our country in leadership, in our military, in our government, the ones that protect us daily through law enforcement, through serving as our nurses, doctors, healthcare professionals, Lord. Just help us always to be mindful of these people who are willing to put service above self every day. Lord, let us live that also each day in our lives, Lord, not only in countries internationally, but here in our own community. Lord, help us to look to those sitting beside us that may have a need. Lord, we would ask you to be with us today, take this food to the nourishment of our bodies, and help us to always be of service to you. In his son's name we pray, amen. Face the flag. Is it up there? Okay, anyway. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
While we're at it, let's get into the four-way test. While Brooks advances this frozen pause screen for us, but most of the Rotarians know it. The four-way test. First, is it true? Second, is it third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, beneficial to all concerned. Thank you so much. Well, welcome to our January 2020 meeting. We like to do our announcements and then we'll get into our speakers. So our announcements are going to be a little bit later, but now we're going to do our attendance. It looks like we have one of our new trainees, Riley Smith. Riley, can you tell us how many members we have here today? And then I can give you the total online. 16 members present and 4 guests. And those guests are very good. These are all Sheriff's Department supporters. Welcome and enjoy. So we'll start having breakfast and we will get started with the meeting right now. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Tom Seibert to come to the podium. Come to the podium and actually do the introduction of our speaker. Tom?
Good morning. So this morning's, it gives me great honor to introduce our guest speaker this morning. Sheriff Mike Fitzhugh was elected as a Rutherford County Sheriff in September of 2018. So gentlemen, if you guys, we're going to be able to hear you. If you could be really quiet while you get your breakfast, we'd appreciate it because the meeting started. He joined the Sheriff's Office in 1994 as a patrol officer and soon trained new deputies. He served as a patrol sergeant, a lieutenant, and a captain. He supervised communications, records, and warrants divisions. He earned his Rutherford County Sheriff Stoppers Officer of the Year. The sheriff started out his career at Beryl South, where he rose in ranks to serve the manager of marketing, corporate and community affairs, personnel, and business marketing. He's a graduate of Central High School of Murfreesboro and earned his Bachelor of Science degree from Middle Tennessee State University. The sheriff volunteered at the Rutherford County Rescue Squad and served as a director for 4 years. He and his wife Janice have 6 children, 16 grandchildren, and is a member of the First Baptist Church in Murfreesboro. Ladies and gentlemen, our sheriff, Sheriff Mike Fitzhugh.
guess this is, you have to work for your breakfast, is that's what it is. So it's, anyway, I appreciate the opportunity, and Tom, thanks for the invitation to come and spend a few minutes with you this morning and kind of give you an overview of what we are at the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office and what we do. And one thing I do is just kind of give you a short overview of the office. We're 582 strong, and a lot of people do not realize that we're that big at our facility. So we got 582 employees at the sheriff's office. And of course, this is at all disciplines with patrol in our detention facility, school resource officer programs, detective programs, warrants. So we're pretty big and cover a lot of ground. Four things that a sheriff is responsible for, and the responsibility is set out by the Constitution of the state of Tennessee. And those things is that we're a keeper of the jail. That is a constitutional responsibility of the sheriff, that we have the jail, we run the jail. We do the courthouse security, patrol the county, and then of course service the warrants. So anybody in the county, whatever agency that takes out a warrant, that comes to us, and we're the ones that serves it. So that's something that's a little bit different from what you have at a police department or Mbrc Police Department. We are the ones that are charged with that responsibility. We have a jail population that we average around 658 inmates a day. We're down to 634 this morning. So we're down a little bit today, but as the day goes on, we'll grow as they come in. We average about 60 to 80 turnaround per day. So we've got coming in and leaving. So we'll probably get up to around 660, somewhere in that neighborhood. The ones in the back said they couldn't hear and they were happy with that. So that's fine. But anyway, we average about 658 right now. We do outside, we bid our food. We serve about 900,000 meals a year at our facility. And prior to me taking office, we actually cooked and served ourselves. We took a look at that, and we now bid that out to outside contract agencies. And because of that, we reduced our meal costs from $1.39 to $1.12 is what we're running right now. So it cost us $1.12 per meal is what we charge. So that saves a little over $200,000 a year in cost to the taxpayers' money. That's one of the things that we're very conscious of at the sheriff's office is we're funded through tax dollars. I go to the county commission, I go to the mayor, Rutherford County, and we seek our funding through the county, and that's set up by Constitution. So it's your tax dollars that's funding that jail. It funds the patrol, it funds our cars. And so that's one of the things that we have to be very conscious of. We turn back in what we call money that we do not use at the end of the year. We're turning back about $1.5 million to $2 million a year. And the reason we're able to do that is that some of the projects that we get into are things change through the year that we anticipate that we're going to spend the money for. We do not have to spend it. So we're not one of these that let's spend our money before the end of the year so we can't turn it back. We have in past years, we have used some of this money if we have cars or whatever that are wrecked during the year, and then we try to replace those. One of the other projects we've done to save money for the taxpayer is prior to this, we were buying all of our cars. We now have entered into what we call a lease program through Enterprise, and all of our police cars are now leased through Enterprise. So we're spending about $450,000 a year. Of course, it's spread out over a 4 to 5 year period, where we were spending about $1.2 to $1.5 million per year. So here again, being conscious of the tax dollars, then we're saving tax dollars in that way also. The other thing I want to look at is we transport prisoners. Of course, we're not located downtown where the court is. We've got to get the prisoner from our facility to court. We also have to take prisoners to doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, so forth like that. We transported last year 12,203 inmates to either court or medical appointments to that nature. So we're very active in that area, and we have a transport division that does that. One of the things I did want to mention is traffic. Traffic, as you know, if you get out on the interstate or you get in town, you don't go very fast if you're driving right. Unfortunately, we have those that don't. And so we have had a tremendous year in as far as traffic enforcement, especially on the interstate. And we have been catching cars out there doing 100 to 117, 125 miles an hour. I was on the interstate one Sunday and the car passed me. Of course, I'm in an unmarked car, and they passed me, and it took me about 3 miles to catch up to them. And when I did get him, I got him doing 118, and he was going to work. And I said, well, I wish I was that excited about my work. So anyway, that's one of the things that we try to enforce. We have partnership with the Tennessee Highway Patrol on the interstate, and they are short of people as we are short of people. So we try to work very closely with them in concert. And so that's one of the things we do. One of the things I want to talk about, and the question has come up last week, we had a situation that arose where we had a wreck on the interstate. A lady ran up underneath the back end of a tractor trailer truck. At the same time that was going on, we had a Benton County Sheriff's Office was transporting a prisoner through our county going to Bradley County. He kicked the window out and escaped. And the question that comes up to us, were they related? They were totally unrelated incidents. They just happened at the same time. The lady on the interstate, unfortunately, the tractor trailer broke down in the number 3 lane and had stopped on the interstate, had put markers out, and apparently she did not see it or didn't realize it. We estimate she was doing at least 70 to 70 plus when she ran up underneath the truck. Never did hit a brake. Very tragic, very unfortunate, but one of the things that does happen. We've had 6 of our police cars totaled on the interstate where they were working accidents, working traffic control, and inattentive drivers ran into the back of them. 5 of the inattentive drivers were drunk, and blue lights do attract drunk drivers and they veer off the road. And so we had 6 of our cars that's been totaled by rear end collisions this past year. So that's one of the other problems we've got. Luckily, we've not had a deputy that's been injured. How they got missed is a miracle. But that's one of the things that's happened to us out there. The Benton County inmate did kick the window out. There was a 19-year-old deputy that working in Benton County that was transporting the prisoner. I've got the kudos to him. The guy came through the back window on top of him. He was able to grab the keys to the car because that's what the inmate was after, was to get the keys to the car so he could make his escape. Truck driver did stop and help the deputy. The deputy did grab the keys, get out of the car, but then of course the manhunt ensued, which involved Tennessee Highway Patrol, Murfreesboro Police Department, and us. Laverne was involved because unfortunately for him, that day we had canine training going on close to our facility. So we were able to put dogs on the track pretty quick. We had 2 deputies, 2 sergeants that were going back over the area. I think it was about a 4-hour search, wasn't it, Lisa? And went back over the area and noticed on a manhole that the rust marks didn't quite line up with each other. Got curious about that, pulled the top of the manhole, and he had climbed down in the manhole and was sitting there. So that's how they were captured him. He went from misdemeanor charges, which is what he's being transported on, and now he's been charged with 2 felonies. So he graduated to big time. So that's kind of some of the things that goes on with us. We've got programs that not only are law related, but on the other hand, we've got what we call a senior citizens awareness network that Phil is very familiar with. And Jack, you're very familiar with. And what that is we got 9 people that go out and visit and with our seniors and make sure that they're taken care of. They've got medicine, they've got food. There's nothing wrong with their house. So they do a lot of projects with our senior citizens in the community. We have a scouting program at the sheriff's office, and we take young men and women from 14 to 20 that come into our program, and we teach them skills, life skills. And we've gotten some very good deputies out of this program through with our department, and then also the Tennessee Highway Patrol has got some. In fact, very proud of one of ours that just really came out of the program recently that's working in our detention facility has already been promoted. So it's a very good program, and we get a lot of good people out of that. We have a program that Gary heads up and Ben that is a Citizens Academy. And I would encourage anybody to has not been to that to attend. You get a look at what we do, all departments. You get to ride with us. You get to go out with us. You get to shoot. You get to do everything that we do. And it gives you a good overview of what we do and what we're all about. So I would encourage you to do that. It's something that we're very proud of. And anything else? I'm going to keep this short. It kind of gives you a short overview. One of the things I did want to do, and Lisa, if I could get you to help me here. What I'm handing out is we've got a problem, as any community has. We've got a drug problem, and drugs are alive and well, and not only in this community but across the nation. And what we're handing out, if you would take a look at the first sheet, there's 4 clipped together, and you'll see a penny is the first sheet that you've got. Okay, you got that? What you see beside that is fentanyl, little white dusting of fentanyl. That is a lethal dosage of fentanyl. It's 2 micrograms is a lethal dose of fentanyl. That's what they're mixing in with drugs now. They're cutting the drugs with fentanyl. It's a cheap synthetic drug, but it will kill you. We've had 30 deaths this year as a result of drugs and fentanyl-laced drugs. If you look at the second sheet, this was one of the raids that we had, and these are fake OxyContin tablets. And these tablets, depending on the supply and demand, will sell anywhere from $9 to $30 a tablet on the street. You take the third sheet and look at it, and what you got here is what they call lethal doses. And the first vial on the top you'll see is a lethal dose of heroin. The second vial is a lethal dose of carfentanil. Carfentanil is an elephant tranquilizer. The first case that TBI found in carfentanil in drugs, Rutherford County's got the distinction of having the first case. This is an elephant tranquilizer that they're mixing in with drugs. The third one is just fentanyl by itself, and that's the lethal dosage of fentanyl. This is what we're facing on the streets today. The last one is a package, again, of OxyContin tablets that was taken in one of our raids. We've had 2 raids in town. One was 15.7 pounds of fentanyl that we took. Another one was a little over 7 pounds of fentanyl that we took. If you take a microgram is 1/1,000,000th of a gram. 1/1,000,000th. 1 gram is 0.03 ounces. So you can imagine how many millions of doses that we took off the street on this. I wanted to acquaint you with that and show you what we've got in Rutherford County and what we're taking off the street. Fentanyl is #1 leading killer in this nation on drugs. It's on the increase. It's coming in from China through Mexico. It's being brought in by the mail, by UPS. This is how they're shipping it in our community. To kind of give you an idea, in 2020, we took $1.4 million of illegal drugs off the street. In 2021, we've taken off almost 16 million. So that's the difference in what we got. We've got a very active narcotics group. They're very active in the community. We see a lot of carryover from Nashville coming into our community. Unfortunately, we've got a lot coming from our community going to Nashville. Some of this is cartel related, some of it's gang related, and some of it's just people trying to make a buck. We have had same individual. They get slapped on the hand, but the money is so great that they go right back to doing what we're doing. So there's a war on drugs, and we're very active in that war. I want you to know that we're doing everything possible. Are we going to eliminate the drug? No. There's too much money involved in it. And if you've got somebody that wants it, we've got somebody that's going to supply it. And that's just the nature of the beast that we're faced with today. But anyway, I wanted to kind of give you an idea. The last sheet that you got was a separate sheet, was OxyContin. And what that was is fake pills versus real pills. You can buy pill pressed off Amazon and make your own pills. And this is what you're getting. So you got 3. 1 is real and the fake. If you put the fake beside the real, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. Some of the labs that these pills are made in are very elaborate. Some of them are in somebody's garage. So you don't know where you're getting it. You don't know what you're taking, and you don't know what's in it. But you can pretty well bet nowadays that there will be fentanyl in it. That's just seemed to be the thing that's going on right now. So anyway, that's kind of an overview of us, give you an idea of the drug problem that we've got in this county. We're a microorganism. If it's going on somewhere else, it's going on here. So anyway, I'll open it up for any questions anybody has. Yes, sir. Fentanyl, you can buy fentanyl for about $2. And you cut your drug with it. It's a very cheap cut. And what it does is you go put it in with heroin. It makes the product, it gives you more heroin product, but the fentanyl is a cutting agent where you put it in there to cut it with. But what it's actually doing is making more pills, making more product of it. And it's a very cheap agent that they put in there. There's some other drugs, and there's some names I can't even pronounce that we're starting to see some coming out on the market now. And there's people that are, where they come up with, there's chemists coming up with some of these drugs, and it's synthetic drugs. But that's the problem. But it's a cutting agent, is what it's for. Yes, sir. Well, thank you for having me. Not to that degree. We are in our community, we're fortunate. We are prosecuting. Do, how to say this without getting in trouble? Do I think people get the sentence out that they should have all the time? No, but I don't know that any police officer feels that way. I have a problem when you get a person that we're on the third and fourth arrest for drugs and they turn them back on the street and they're doing the same thing. Unfortunately, the laws will only allow you to give so much time or so much sentence. So I think at some point in some time, we're going to have a hard look, be it at the judicial level on sentencing. You've got another side that's on sentencing reform where people for low level type misdemeanors that we turn them loose. So for some of that is not bad. If we kept everybody in jail on every arrest we made, we'd have to triple the size of this facility out here. I'm authorized for 968 is what we're authorized for. We'd have to triple that. So what can the public bear versus that's kind of it. But right now, no, we're not seeing that in our county. Yes, sir. We were successful in charging 3 individuals for murder. What we try to do on anything like that is take it federal. We bring in our federal partners, Attorney General, federal Attorney General, and we charge them through federal charges. They get a day for a day on federal. And we were successful. We had 3 individuals where we had a death, several deaths, and we were able to track it back to the supplier. And we took them on federal charges, and all 3 were convicted of murder. We charge them on distribution. We charge them on, well, what it is to get a murder charge. For the first thing, let's say we have a death, then it's drug related death. There's an autopsy. We send everybody for autopsy. You have got to prove through autopsy that the drug was the cause of death. If you can't prove through the autopsy that the drug was the cause of death, you cannot charge murder for that. Yep. Potential. Yes. Well, we charge them for what we can on the distribution and so forth. But this is the laws are what they are. You can't charge somebody for something's potential that hadn't occurred. The law just won't let us do it. I mean, it's crazy. It's kind of like me saying I'm going to kill you. Well, I hadn't taken it. I haven't done it. So yeah, so yeah, can I be arrested for I haven't done it yet. Now, we can get into, looking at other things. Did I threaten you and so forth? But even there's a burden of proof on everything that we do. Sometimes that burden is pretty good. Melvin knows that real well. The burden of proof on a police officer is pretty great as far as being able to arrest and prove your case in court. It's what we've got to work with today, and that's what it is. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Actually, at one time, corporate America is what I spend in corporate America has helped me in this job. The sheriff's job is turned into, it's a largely administrative role. And we deal with a lot of problems other than law enforcement problems. And I think one thing that corporate America has taught me is I got to go to a lot of leadership classes that I may not have been able to do in other walks of life. I've been able to apply those leadership classes to managing. And one of the things that we see is to me, there's a difference between managing and leadership. Leadership is having a vision and getting people to see that vision and go along with you towards that vision. Managing is just day-to-day operations, just trying to keep the door open. I think as a sheriff, you have to have both. But I think through corporate America, I was able to have some classes that may not have been afforded to me. The experiences also through human resources. I was an EEO coordinator. I had multitask in corporate America that I think rounded me to look at different things, budget and so forth like that. So the training that I had there has helped me tremendously. Yes. It's calendar year. Well, one thing we have is people do not like to get involved. They'll see things, but they don't call us. I don't want to, well, maybe I didn't really see that or thing. And I encourage every citizen, if you see something that's unusual or if it's strange to you or whatever, is call us and let us check it out. Give us the opportunity. If it turns out to be nothing, that's great. If it turns out to be something, then we're able to take it further and look at it. What we find a lot of times is citizens don't want to get involved. And we need that involvement. A lot of the things that we do and a lot of things we see comes in through telephone calls. And these drug situations come in where people see something or there's an unusual activity at a house in a neighborhood where there's cars there all times and all hours of the night. If you see that, I had my grandson that called me on one, turned out to be a drug house. That there was activity that was going on that was just unusual for the neighborhood. So what you see and everything is call us and get involved. And we're not going to, go down and knock on the door and say, you called us. We'll keep your name anonymous, but help us in that way. I hope that. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Sheriff Fitzhugh, before you leave here, I will tell you this, as optimistic as I was in 1999 about our sheriff department and our police department, I'm still optimistic now that you guys are taking care of us. Our kids got us because of the school systems to start recycling, even though we stopped it, because the schools talked about recycling and the value, the parents start recycling. Our kids took their training. They have all the information they need. And it's because of those programs that they know what they're doing and when to stop. So I want to thank you for that. And on behalf of our Murfreesboro Breakfast Rotary Club, I'm going to leave you with this token. It's our 4-way test token. Everything that we say, we think, and we do, we run it through that first. And we hope that gives you guidance as you move forward with your leadership and your management style. Thank you. Well, as Brooke starts transitioning, I'd like for you all to take a last dip to the full pool because we're going to start packing up the breakfast. And if you'd like to take that breakfast to any non-for-profit organization, feel free to start taking it. The boxes are there for you to package it and take it to them at 7:45. Now, Brooks, let's transition over to our slides. Great. And before we get to that, we have a guest that's online. And I wanted to thank her. Miss Edie is with us today again. So thank you and welcome back. Nancy Whitman, I understand you have 2 announcements for us today.
Good morning, everyone. So what's up on the screen? You also have on the table is a special kids race that's coming up on the 19th of March. It'll be at MMC. And our Breakfast Rotary is going to have a team. So I'm challenging all of you to sign up. Sharon is the lead on that team. And I'm also going to challenge our other Rotary clubs to have teams. So if you know anyone in any of the other 2 Rotary clubs in our county, please encourage them to sign up and challenge them to come and walk. It's a really fun day. You don't have to do the 15K. If you want, you can just do the 1 mile fun walk run. It's around the little lake there at MMC, but we've got music, food, entertainment. There's a fun zone for kids, so you can bring your family, your grandkids, and just come out and have a fun day. You can scan the QR code on this postcard and it will take you right to our race website. And then you just click on register and you find the Murfreesboro Breakfast Rotary team. And then the next thing is I put these sheets on all the tables. One of the things we're going to start doing this year is collecting the information on all the volunteer hours all of you do in the community. So if you are on a board and you volunteer time, if you go to something like Habitat for Humanity, the build coming up, anything that you do out in the community, we want you to write that down and the hours so that we can start reporting that. There's quite a few Rotary clubs around the nation that actually collect that kind of information and report back to the community, because it's one way that we can say, this is another way that we're giving back, and there's huge value to that. And I know a lot of you do a lot in the community. So we're going to start putting this out on the table when you pick up your name tag. So please fill it out. If any of you have done anything so far this month in January, if you would write that down on the form today, I'll collect it and we'll start reporting that information. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of side benefits. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And Bob brought up a good point. When we're looking for sponsorships for the barbecue fest and maybe our future golf scramble, they look at how many volunteer hours we have accumulated. As Michael Babb says, as Brooks prepares his slide, the ripple effects of service. The service we do in club is rippling effect on what we're doing outside of club. So let's capture that. Now the fun part, foundation football. Brooks is, okay. Brooks is going to give us an update and I'll be his cheerleader. No, I won't.
Okay, I did not bring my cheerleaders today, but I did bring a police squad and they are in uniform. So if you think you can get them up here to do a cheer for us, I'm looking at these faces going, no, I don't think so. Foundation football is, we're well into NFL playoffs now. Let's take a look at what we got here. Top 5, it really hadn't changed that much. I think only one person has changed, but Jean Marie Hill, Lori Williams, Faye Johnson, Brad Mankin, and Barb Ford round out the top 5. And the bottom 5, Mr. Tom Sizemore is still in the very bottom, and he is so proud of that. So let's give him a hand. Yeah. And then, so this is what it looks like after week 1 of the playoffs. We have 7 Rotarians out of the hunt. That means we have 22 Rotarians still in the hunt. Those Titans are looking really, really good this weekend. So let's keep this going, guys. Thanks a lot.
This is the funnest way to give money to Rotary International. And thank you and Judy for leading us again this year. Well, Habitat for Humanity, this is something that our club always does. We have a Habitat for Humanity bill that's scheduled for February the 19th. And I decided to do something different. Because we're a closed club, but an open club, I decided to keep a couple of slots for some handy people that are Murfreesboro Water Resource Department employees. So along with the Noon Club, the Smyrna Club, and our club, there's going to be 15 slots from 9 o'clock in the morning to about 3 o'clock. It's going to be an opportunity for those non-Rotarians to get to see what we do, to put their hands with our hands to build a new house for Miss Alexandria. So I hope you guys would join me. In the connector, you'll see the open slots. Could you raise your hands if you have a slot so far? Adam, he's bringing his daughter. All right. All right, now the last thing is our board meeting. I will be sending out an agenda, and this is an open meeting. We'd love to have you guys come. Our club is a reflection of what's going on and what's going on in the community and what you're asking us to do to make our club more engaging for you. So please think about coming to our board meeting. It's going to be, the link will be in the connector along with the agenda. And again, we welcome you guys to be able to come and just hear how business is conducted. Without further ado, I think we'll shift over to what's happening next week. Can you believe it's been 6 months? Our next month's meeting, it's going to be here, and it's going to be on the 27th. And it's going to be all about what's happened over the last 6 months since July 1st. So don't miss that. It's going to give you a milestone from our July 1st to what we're doing now and how well we've been managing our expectations with our visioning. So without further ado, I think we're ready to convene this meeting. And as you guys know, service is the rent we pay for being on earth. So this meeting is convened, and you guys have a wonderful Thursday. Oh, before I leave here, those cards on the table, they're for Madeline, they're for the Sizemores, they're for Vasana's family, and they're also for the previous speaker, Dr. Pierce. Please take the opportunity to sign those before you leave today. Meeting's adjourned. Have a good day, guys. I'll leave the meeting up for 10 more minutes, but I'll stop recording.